cities can come over here, and please give them a very, very warm welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is a real honour to be speaking in front of you all today about my hopes for the future and what I hope out of life. And as Henry VIII said to his wife, I won't keep you for long. Now, in a minute, you'll be able to see a list of all the things that I hope to have in life. Like most people, I want work, independence, friends, and more specific to myself, I want photography, have my book published, share my experience of having autism with others, filmmaking, and do the things that most other people can do. Now I'm going to speak about work first, the first thing that was on the slide. Oh, oops. Why do I want work? Well, give me self-respect. I like to earn my own money. It'll be a greater independence. It'll give me something to do in life. Yeah, quite a couple of reasons. I think some of them are probably the same reasons why anyone would really want work. And there are actually a few things which would make me a pretty good employee as well. For example, I'm hard-working and precise. I don't sound big-headed. And when I understand an instruction, I will follow it very carefully. And with the preciseness, I can actually sometimes annoy people a bit, because if I have like some CDs that I'm going to put in a case, I'll always make sure they're absolutely straight. Because if they're slightly out of position, that's terrible. They need to be straight, otherwise that is just no good. So I think that can be an advantage to an employer. However, even though there are many positives and things that should maybe be a good employee, there are also some difficulties that I have which may get in the way of finding and keeping a job. I'm just going to say each one to you. Well, not each one, but because there's so many, but some of them. The first thing is the interview situation. Now, most of you probably had a job interview, and it was a really nerve-wracking experience. You were all really nervous. But for me, it wouldn't just be nerve-wracking, it would be anxiety. You know, you'd just be interviewed by all these complete strangers, and I'd be panicking all the way through because I'd be like worried that I wouldn't get the job. And of course, the questions would be very difficult to answer anyway. If it was just someone who I knew, it would be especially difficult with like a complete stranger. So yeah, and the next problem is learning difficulties, which, hence the name, means you've got difficulty learning. And so there are certainly things which I struggle with, and I certainly couldn't have a job in those areas, like maths. Now, the next problem is health problems. Now, I have pretty bad asthma, and when it gets out of control, it usually affects my autism to a degree as well, as in I can be in a complete daze and just not with it at all. So I think that could be a disadvantage. Now, and of course, there's lack of awareness of hazards. Now, most people, they seem to automatically see hazards, no matter what they're focusing on. They just seem to automatically see them, pick them up without thinking. I have to be focusing on them to see them. Otherwise, I'll just completely miss them, and it'll be as if they're not even there. For example, I did this course in horse care on a Friday, and if I like open the gate to maybe put the head collar on the horse, I might leave the gate open so then the horse could escape. Okay, the next problem is travelling to a place of work, since I can't drive. Now, you might be thinking, well, there's one very easy solution to that. You could learn to drive. Well, I think that would be very difficult for me to pass my test because of, well, a lot of reasons. My sister's 22 and she's failed the driving test 10 times. So I think it's very difficult for me to, and even if I did manage to pass my test, I don't think I'd be a very trustworthy driver because I'd probably be like on the road, concentrating. But then I'd see someone walking on the pavement with a camera, and I must have a glimpse of that camera. Wow, that is so posh. Wow, crash! So I think after hearing that story, you'd be worrying if I was driving, wouldn't you? You certainly wouldn't want to get into a car. Now the next slide is independence. Now, I'd like it if in about 10 years' time I was living on my own with a job, living the same sort of life that any adult would live. Because I don't want to feel like a child for the rest of my life. But at the same time, I'm afraid of becoming an adult because I really don't feel like I'm ready. I feel like I could do about 10 more years to catch up because I have so much to learn. As how long have I got? A few weeks? It's not really long enough. Most people, when they've like turned 18, they're like, it's the best time ever, celebrate, it's awesome. As for me, it's probably about the worst birthdays. Every year I feel worse because I really don't feel like I'm ready to grow up. It would explain, it wouldn't, according to this test on the internet, my mental age is 4 years old. Yes, that's an internet test. You know, if that's just a joke, really. Yeah, that's no relevance. But seriously, I don't feel like, I feel like I could do it longer, but we are working on life skills. So I hope that I will get some degree of independence when I'm a proper adult. Now, the next slide says I love taking photos. Well, I do. I'll often have a Nikon D60 camera, and whenever we go to a place where there's nice scenery, I'll just have to take pictures of it. And I really hate it if I haven't brought my camera. In fact, sometimes my mum might be like, "Oh, Alex, take pictures of the family as well. You meant to take pictures of people, not just landscapes." But I'm a landscape man. I'm much prefer to take landscapes. I mean, yes, I'll take people as well. But anyway, I hope one day maybe I could earn a living out of selling my photographs. So that could be a possible job. So, of course, because I'm so terrible at maths, someone else might have to be charged with money, of course. I hate to admit. Now, the next slide says I'm writing a book about my life with autism. Well, that's true. I am. I sort of go through my whole life with it. And also my experiences of having it and sort of how I saw the world when I was younger, etc. I really hope this book can one day be published, and I hope it can help parents of autistic children, and I hope it can help people who work with people who have autism. I hope it can help the parents, of course, to understand their child better and understand how they're seeing the world. And I hope it can help people who work with them. And of course, I hope it can help people who have autism themselves to understand themselves better and feel less alone. And I hope it can help people in general just to do the works. Now, the next slide says filmmaking. I made a couple of films about autism. I made one film about how I saw the world when I was younger, with the shots being terrifying. I'd find like the lights on the ceiling would be extremely bright, and if there was a bit of pop music, I'd find it extremely loud. I did a film visualising that. But I still didn't think it quite grasped it, because I only used the effects on Windows Movie Maker. So I would like to maybe one day make more films like that, and learn to make them more professional. Now, then this is the final slide. It says my autism is a gift. Now, you might be thinking at that, you know, you're speaking earlier about your asthma getting out of control. Maybe it's out of control at the moment. Maybe you should go and see a doctor. Yeah, well, let me tell you. But even though it does have its many negatives, it does also have its strong points as well. And it's believed that if we didn't have any autism in the world, then we possibly wouldn't have this projector. We wouldn't have all the technical material. So they do have their good points, because I'm no inventor or anything, but I do still have some positive points. But I just sometimes struggle with having autism, and I sometimes wish it was a lot milder than it is. But I know it could be a lot worse, and actually was a lot worse before I've had all the therapy and gotten a lot better. Anyway, I know that God has given me autism, and I hope to help others through it, and I hope to make a big difference. Well, thank you so much for watching this speech. I hope you've enjoyed it and learned from it. Are there any questions? Just a few. No? Okay.
Just one.
Oh, yes?
So a person who has autism always looks odd.
But you don't look odd.
Yes, it really depends on the person. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah.
Yes?
You mentioned You mentioned that you have been working on your life skills. Is somebody helping you with that, or do you just mean you've grown yourself and you've learned how to cope better yourself, or do you have?
Yeah, someone is helping me with it.
Right. And is that a service that you've contacted, or is it people that are your family, friends, your?
Well, I've got a therapy. I had a therapist, you know, when I had therapy, and she's still sort of working, not so much therapy, but it's still kind of teaching me more life skills. Yes?
What age did you know that you had autism?
It was when I was 11.
No.
Yes. Any others? Yes?
Where have you gone to learn about photography?
Well, sorry?
Have you been to college to learn about photography, or is it a hobby that you researched?
It's mostly a hobby, but I did sort of go to college to, well, a few part-time courses to sort of learn how to use Photoshop and things like that. And I've done an open university course, focusing on every aspect of photography.
Did you go to mainstream school?
No, actually, I'm home educated.
Oh, home educated.
Yeah.
I think we've probably got time for one more, and then perhaps Alison, you can be here at the end if there's any more questions later.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Last
Can I ask
question?
just the one. You spoke of therapies.
Yeah.
Do the therapies have a name?
Yes. ABA, Applied Behavioural Analysis.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.